This is KTVO's Good Morning Heartland.
Welcome back. If you have a wood-burning fireplace or stove in your house, you've probably been there. You think you've started the perfect fire only to turn back to the fire a few minutes later and find that it has completely flamed out. Well, that's about to change. Samantha Crowley is in Iowa learning how to build the perfect fire. Good morning, Samantha.
Thanks, Ella, and good morning, Heartland. I'm in Bloomfield this morning, and as you know, it is cold outdoors, so you're constantly trying to bundle up indoors and potentially building a fire, but are you doing it safely is the question. I have Adam Rebling here with me with Midtown Chimney Sweeps. He's going to show us how to do all of this, what we need to know, how we need to set it up so that we're good to go. How are you doing?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm doing well. So we have a bunch of stuff here. So what's our first step as far as making sure that we have everything organized that we're going to need to build the fire before we start actually building it?
There's three main components that you're going to need. You're going to need tinder, kindling, and fuel.
Okay.
Tinder would be things like newspaper, or here we have a toilet paper roll with dryer lint stuffed in it.
And that's used dryer sheets?
Yeah,
correct?
Yeah. These are things that burn very quickly, just to get your fire started.
Interesting.
And then we have kindling, which would be smaller pieces of wood. Here's some wood shavings off of logs, and just some little pieces of some pine is all that is. And the third and most
important,
I would say most used,
would
be your fuel. Logs, wood in general. That's your fuel load.
So as far as then getting started after we have all of the equipment, what's our first step? Do we want to go in that order with the paper and then the kindling and then the bigger logs?
There's two different ways to stack your wood. Many people who have fireplaces can do what we call a top-down burn. And a top-down burn is actually the most efficient way to burn your wood. And the way let me stop there and ask you, how would you stack the wood and start a fire?
I'm going to be really bad at this. I've only made, campfires outdoors. So I think if I am going to trust Pocahontas and the different movies that I've watched growing up, I think I'd go like this. I'd get another stick and I'd try to start a fire, little sparks here and there.
Yeah, and that actually works really well.
Okay.
Out in the wild.
Yeah, probably not so perfect for indoors, I'm assuming.
We have some things to make lighting the fire much easier than rubbing two sticks together.
Really? I had no idea.
Yeah. I'll show you the top-down burn.
Okay.
It's great for fireplaces, and if you have a bigger wood stove or a bigger insert, this is a great way to light your fire and extend your burning time.
All right, let's get started.
So what we're going to do is we'll pretend this is the floor of the fireplace itself, and we'll stack the wood, bigger pieces on the floor first.
Okay.
You can kind of see what I'm doing here is I'm making mountains and valleys, and what I'm going to do is
to fill in the gap.
The idea is to stack your wood as tightly as possible so that there's no gaps.
Okay.
So we put our bigger logs on the bottom, and then we put smaller logs on top. And some people like to crisscross them, some people keep them all going the same way.
But it doesn't matter?
Not really.
Okay.
The whole idea is to keep it tight so that the coals won't fall down to the floor and light everything at once.
Okay.
Then it gets very hot very quickly. So
before we put on the next layer, how about we go ahead, we'll throw it back to Ella, and when we come back, we'll finish this one. We'll talk about a second way that we can go about building the fire. Does that sound good?
Sounds great.
All right, for now, Good Morning Heartland will continue right after this.
Welcome back. The perfect fire for your fireplace requires more than just setting a match to some wood. Samantha Crowley has been busy all morning long learning the proper steps. Let's see how things are coming along. Good morning, Samantha.
Thanks, Ella. If you're just joining us, we are going through the proper steps on how to safely set up and burn a fire in your home to keep warm during these cold winter months. And I am here with Adam Rebling, who is with Midtown Chimney Sweeps. We finished during the break building up this fire. This is the top-down method?
Yeah, this is the top-down method, and we stacked our larger logs on the bottom, and we crisscrossed smaller pieces, and at the very top is where we have our tinder, or the quickly burning items. And the concept of this is you light your, the cardboard or the newspaper, and it gets your smaller pieces started, so you have your coals dropping down on each layer, which gets the next layer burning. And as the smoke from the next layer comes through the fire actually burns the particulates in the smoke. So you get a very clear smoke, which is what you want, and it's very clean burning, and you get more BTUs out of your wood.
Now there's a lot of stuff here. We have a couple layers going on. So how long about would this burn?
This pile of wood, you'd probably get 4 hours out of it, I'd guess. But if you had if we stacked this fireplace full, you could easily get 6 hours. You'd have a nice bed of coals.
So you can go higher than this even?
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness, okay.
This is a great way to burn campfires as well, to get a long burning fire.
So I've been doing it wrong this whole time.
There's different ways to do it.
Right. So now we have fire starter over here, so I'm sure a lot of people know how to use that, but if you want to just briefly mention that quick for everyone.
Sure. This product is actually a gelled fire starter. It's kind of the consistency of a jelly, but it's got an alcohol in it. It's a great way to start your tinder or your little sticks. You can skip the newspaper. This product is actually a lighter fluid that you pour onto the stone inside of this plastic container, and you light the stone on fire. And what's unique with this product is, if you read here, it's not only a fire starter, it's also a creosote removing product.
Oh.
So people who have creosote buildup in their chimney, this actually helps loosen that, so it's easier to clean out.
So 2 uses, keeping you warm and treating that creosote.
Absolutely, yep. And there's a lot of others. These, for example, this is called fat wood. It's pine that's been soaked in paraffin or wax, is basically what that is. It burns really well, and there's a lot of other commercial fire starters on the market.
Now we have this all set up so nicely, I'd hate to bring it down, but we do have a second method. So if you even wanted to just talk us through, pointing at everything, where it would go for this second method.
Sure. The second method, you take this whole thing and you flip it upside down.
Interesting.
It would go in a fireplace that has a grate, for example. You would take your newspaper and shove it underneath the grate, and then you would put your kindling on the grate first and your smaller pieces on top of that. And it's actually the exact same method, just flipped upside down, and you're burning from the bottom up, and it burns much faster, much hotter. People with wood stoves tend to burn that way because they want to get quick heat out of their stove.
Okay.
If you're having just a small family gathering and you just want to fire for a couple hours, that's the preferred way to do it.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for showing us how to do this. I know a lot of us assume that we know how to start a fire and to do it correctly, but some things can go wrong, and so it's nice to just have a breakdown, know how to do everything. So again, thank you so much. We'll put all this information on our website, heartlandconnection.com, but for now, Ella will go ahead and send it back to you.